Welcome to Heart to Heart. How are you this morning? Oh, well, this afternoon. Afternoon, actually.
Evening, whatever it is.
Evening. Yeah, it's 6
It's the
p.m.
first half of my day. Doing all right. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you. So we're so pumped to have you on the show today, and I'm sure we're gonna have lots of fun. So, my first question, and I'm pretty sure you see me coming here. What's the story behind your name?
So the name is from a long time ago, from high school, actually. I think early high school. We were in the cafeteria one day, my friends who, group of friends used to play Magic the Gathering together, as you do. And there was this girl that was wearing this absurd looking hat. It was like the Dr. Seuss hat with the Jamaican stripes, and it was kind of floppy. And I turned to my friend and said, "She is so cool that she has to wear that ridiculous hat." And I went back home later that night. There was a new Magic the Gathering message board that I wanted to join. I didn't know a name. So I just typed in ridiculous hat. And this was, I don't know, like 20 something years ago. And then I just kept using it.
That's a sweet story.
Yeah, I have a bunch of very silly hats, but like usually when I live my life, I don't wear notable hats or hats at all. And so people always ask, well, why don't you wear ridiculous hats? No, I can put one on. If I want to go like this, I think this qualifies as a pretty absurd hat.
Yes, indeed,
But
it does.
but it's inconvenient for day to day, so,
So, now, can you tell us a bit about who is RidiculousHat? Because I feel that everyone kind of know you are, but like lots of people don't really know what you do and where you are. It's kind of like a mystery. You have kind of this aura.
or that is the nicest way anyone has ever described dude that lives on Twitter all day. So I appreciate the very kind description. So I mean, where I am, I live in New York City. What I do, I kind of do most of the things that involve social interaction around Hearthstone without any of the popular ones. Like no Twitch. I do Twitch like 3-4 days a year, usually just expansion launch evenings, and no YouTube. But a lot of the other mediums, I interact a ton on Discords and on Twitter. I'm constantly there all the time. I've leaned into Twitter over the years and just built a good rapport with a lot of people that play the game and a lot of people that make the game. I consider myself pretty fortunate there. And I host a bunch of podcasts because it was like that's kind of YouTube and kind of Twitch, but it's not gameplay. It's just talking. And somehow after being on one, then I ended up on two, then I ended up on three, and then I guessed on a bunch, and I don't know, it just kind of turned into a thing.
A good thing.
I think so. I hope everyone else thinks so.
Yes, definitely. So, because it's like it's difficult to describe you as the member of this community. That's why I called you in my description Hearthstone extraordinaire.
Yes, so. Yeah, I remember the first time Zeddy posted a question about Priest's place in the metagame, and I replied to him with the response that he liked, and so he put in his video. And he was like, known Hearthstone, and he paused and said, personality? And I think that's where it is. The mediums that I interact with are not the typical ones that you'll see being popular or that people make money off of. And, I'm not really in this for the money. I have a full-time job, and then I do the other stuff at night. But I am in a ton of Discords. I tweet a bunch, interact with a lot of people, spread news that way pretty organically. I run a Hearthstone league, just kind of involved in a lot of different ways in a lot of different places, but none that elevator pitch all that well. Like people will call me the podcast guy or the Twitter guy or whatever, but it's just kind of a bunch of little things, like you said.
Definitely, definitely. And so you're talking about your job. What's your job other than being an Hearthstone extraordinaire?
I've worked for a large movie theater chain that you have definitely heard of. I've worked for them for 15 years or so, since 2007. And I am currently the general manager of a location. I've held a lot of different jobs for them. I ran a virtual reality arcade. I spent a couple years fixing movie projectors, just driving around or flying around or whatever, and helping fix stuff and train people on them. But as of right now, I run a theater in Manhattan.
Amazing. Amazing, amazing. And so, okay, so you mentioned you live in New York and you mentioned your wife, so you're married.
I am.
So do you want to talk a bit about your partner?
She's great. She goes by Fly That Kite online. Uh, I'm a big fan. She, uh, we've been together since 2015. We got married in 2019. Um, went to Italy 6 months before COVID for our honeymoon. Thank goodness. It was amazing. Glad we went when we did. Uh, and I think she's a better gamer than I am. She'll disagree with me, but I think she is. She's beaten every Dark Souls game, like has a Dark Souls tattoo. She one-shot Orphan of Kos. Really, really talented gamer. And she is taking her CPA test on Saturday, so she's also smart, accountant. You know, I think that answers your question.
Does she play Hearthstone?
We've played a bit in the past. The card game thing is definitely like my area of expertise. She's definitely tried. We tried co-oping a little bit. I think it's probably for the best if our interests don't overlap that much. Just because it's nice for us to each have our own gaming space to live in, and also I have been informed that maybe I'm not always the most gentle coach.
Ooh.
Can be different when you live with someone. But she could play them, but she doesn't at the moment. We definitely both had moments with Battlegrounds when that came out, and with Mercenaries when that came out. But she tends towards more of the console games right now.
Okay, interesting. So you have both your area and the house.
Yeah. Yeah, and we have there's some games every so often that we really both fall in love with at the same time. The most recent was Elden Ring, which is the first Souls game I've actually enjoyed, and she also obviously really liked it. One of the ones a while ago was Hollow Knight, also really incredible experience. We both played through at the same time, but it's not all that common for us to play through the same game at the same time. When we do, it's one of my favorite things because we both just get to talk about it all the time.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's good to have something to in common to talk about when you're having dinner, for example, in a romantic
Yeah,
dinner.
exactly.
Okay. So you mentioned you guys love video games, but do you play board games?
Every so often, we tend towards the digital. New York City apartments, I imagine, are similar to Montreal apartments. They're not very large. So we do board games every so often, but it's kind of hard to find a common space that we both enjoy, that we want to be in all the time. But we'll do board games every so often. Actually, most recently, we bought back to Magic the Gathering. We bought the latest Unhinged or whatever they make these sets every so often that are a bunch of joke cards that have you do silly things. And so we bought the most recent box out of that, and we've been playing that, and that's been a lot of fun.
So you both play Magic the Gathering?
Yes, I used to play it competitively when I was much younger, and she is definitely more on the casual side of it. Didn't get into it quite as much as I did back in the day. Flying around and playing it. At a mediocre level, in my opinion. But she really likes the game and the art, and we talk about it every so often, and so we play casually here in the house once in a while.
Nice, nice. And do you keep all the cards in your tiny apartment?
She is the keeper of the cards, and we have some dedicated space for it. And she's much more organized than I am, so there's a section on the bookshelf right over there. I don't think you can see it in the camera, but we have them all over there.
Good, good. And so, okay, so that leads me to how do you have the time to do everything? Because I feel that you're always there on Twitter. You're always there to answer anyone's questions. You're everywhere. all the time. It's like I want to know your tricks.
I have been asked this question many times, and I never really have a great answer because I don't super know either. I play fast and loose with my sleep schedule a lot. I think I told you in the pre-show. Today is Thursday. I record 2 podcasts on Thursdays. Coin Conceit at 7:30, and then the Vicious Syndicate podcast. My co-host is in the Middle East, so we record at 1 a.m. my time, 8 a.m. his. Which usually means I go to bed around 3 to 4 ish, which is not uncommon for me. I tend towards the night. Uh, I tend to be tired for work on Friday mornings, but I make do. I've been dealing with 5 hours of sleep as a baseline for years now, and I get more when I can. And that's probably the root of my power is functioning on not very much sleep. It is not healthy and is not sustainable. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, but it is what it is. And I've always been happiest when my plate is fairly full. So I try and be as organized as I possibly can. My home setup has 3 monitors, one of which is an ultra wide. So I have a Twitter tab open right now with TweetDeck. I can see what's going on. If I want to like a tweet while we're talking, I'll do that. Right. And that way I can kind of stay wired and aware of what's going on. And I don't know. I just spend a lot of time looking at things and trying to stay wired in. And then when it's time to focus, when it's time to work, I get there, but it's not too hard to catch up.
Amazing. So when did you start playing Hearthstone? Was it at the beginning of the beta or something like that?
I think I first started playing, I played very little at the very beginning. Um, Not in closed beta. It was either open beta or right at the beginning of launch. I played a teeny bit. Uh, like I built a cheap zoo deck and I played some zoo and it was a brief interaction, but then uh I had been really into competitive Magic the Gathering, but then in '07 I got a job at the movie theater and that was nights and weekends, which is when all the in-person Magic tournaments are. So had to really pull back from that. And I was looking for another card game down the line after I had made some progress in my AMC career, had a little bit more time in my hands. And this was probably around 2014 when I just saw Hearthstone. I think it was right when the mobile client came out. And I said, you know what? With this mobile client and with this game, this can be my game. And so I made it my game and I played and just kind of hooked me from there. I remember that was between Blackrock Mountain and the Grand Tournament was when I really got into it, which seems like a common trend among a lot of people I talk to.
Yes, definitely. And okay, so being able to play it on mobile seemed to be one of the good reasons you started playing Hearthstone, right?
Yeah, it fit my schedule, right? It's if I had 5 minutes or 5 hours, if I was awake at 4 in the morning on a Wednesday, or if I was awake at noon on a Saturday, didn't matter when, didn't matter where. It was a. I know this sounds very silly. I found it very affordable for a card game because again, I was coming from Magic. I sold one deck on Magic Online and bought Hearthstone, bought everything, because it was just so much easier to build all the different decks and play with them. And this was back in the old days. So for me, with my warp perspective coming from that, I found it very accessible, both in terms of the time and in terms of the financial investment. And I was lucky enough to, have some finances to invest and just kind of kept up with it from there.
That's a very interesting. That's a very interesting thing to say because I guess lots of people would say would not agree completely with you, but I do agree a lot with you. I was a free to play player until I started streaming, and then I mean I have an amazing community that started buying me some decks, and also like Blizzard like give me like the cosmetics and things like that, which I didn't before. And I enjoyed them a lot, but I used to be a free to play player for 6 years, so
Yeah.
I do understand that it can be. It depends, like how competitive you want to be, because when you start a season without all the cards, for sure, like it's a bit difficult because you're doing like Frankenstein decks.
Yeah. Or you're playing whatever was good in the last meta, which is not necessarily as fun or interesting, because Hearthstone's not free to play, it's free to patient. you can
Yes.
have all the cards at the end of an expansion, but at the
Yes.
beginning it's way, way harder, and they want you to spend money instead of spending time. And that's how they profit. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity for the game to be more accessible because remember, I'm talking about almost 10 years ago now when we're competing with pieces of paper that you played in the card store. The world is not the same anymore. And there are a lot of options on the market that are way cheaper and easier to get into. Hearthstone's made some great progress there too, but there's still definitely some legitimate concerns about the economy that I hope and expect they'll make some further steps towards.
And so everything about cosmetics, so everything about not related to the game. What are your thoughts on it? Do you consume them yourself?
I buy the things that I think are cool and don't buy the things that I don't think are cool, if that answers your question. I I was weak and immediately bought the entire mech like the 10 robots, the hero robots. I couldn't resist. I immediately purchased them. Most of the cosmetics in the shop I just skip entirely because at this point there are so many of them that I'm just going to use what I have. I buy the tavern pass um, because it has a lot of other stuff on it that I want. I want the diamonds, whatever. But I mostly stick with standard in duels. I don't mind mercenaries, but I don't spend money on it anymore. Um, and battlegrounds, I don't have the bandwidth to play because that is a whole game that I am just real bad at and takes so much time to learn. So I feel like there's an overwhelming amount of cosmetics for BGs that I just don't engage with. But I generally take it on a case by case basis. I usually don't buy cosmetics at this point, but if something is really cool, I will instantly go purchase it.
Nice. What's your favorite cosmetic? I know you've mentioned Mex Hero, but do you have a favorite?
My favorite one, the cat coin from Scholomance, where when you own all of the cards in Scholomance, the bonus coin they give you, where it's Mr. Bigglesworth, the cat,
Yes.
that's never coming off. Never ever.
Good. Do you have a second favorite?
Let's see. It's either Magni or Nemzi.
Oh,
I
good
like both of
choice.
them,
Good
but
choice.
Magni, they nerfed Magni when they removed his sorry. The "oh, I'm so sorry" friend was so genuine. He really was sorry. He really cared, and they took that away from him. It hurt to hear.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, when they took away sorry, like Magni had the best sorry outside of Jiraxis.
Mm. Oh, you mean sorry? Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. In as the when they
The
took
emote.
out completely a sorry. Okay, yes, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, no, I agree. I agree. Though I don't really use the emotes, I must say, unless I know the person I'm playing on ladder. Unless
But yeah, I don't use them much either, but sometimes you just had to hit him with the sorry. Sometimes.
Okay, so what do you think about the state of Hearthstone right now? I know like there's a
That's
new
a big question.
meta, new expansion, new year, a rotation.
So, you mean standard or Hearthstone?
Hearthstone in general.
Hearthstone in general, their approach this year is on sustainability and stability. Refreshing the client, making sure that it catches up with all the stuff they did last year. I think that's a great approach. They seem to have a lot of feature level and system level improvements they're targeting. Also, a great approach. I am generally pretty happy with the team's philosophy on how they design and how they balance. Doesn't mean that I love every meta, and I don't expect to. I don't think anyone will love every meta, and I tend to be pretty heavy into standard. Um, they tend to have pretty clearly defined philosophies for 4-set, 5-set, and 6-set metas throughout the course of a year. And I tend to be happiest right in the middle when there are 5 sets in standard, and 4-set it feels a little too basic, and 6-set it feels a little bit too extreme. But it depends on what the meta is. Like Alterac, there was a brief period where I was really having a great time, and a couple other brief periods where I was barely playing at all. So it just depends on how the cards fall. In Voyage right now, I admit I'm feeling a little lost in current standard because it feels both pretty open and unexplored, but also pretty restricted for about half of the classes. So I think that they usually go for a buff patch about a month after the first balance patch, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that is. And there's going to be some cool stuff for the Master Store this weekend, but I do feel like a lot of classes are pretty limited right now, just by the nature of the card pool. Um, but outside of the specific details of Standard right now, and really of any mode right now, the thing that matters the most to me is that I understand the decision making made by the people making the game and agree with it and understand what their goals are. And that I think is pretty wired into what I want a game to be. So even if I don't understand or appreciate a specific meta, or even if I don't play a specific mode, the way they go about making their decisions and explaining them and implementing them is aligned with what I want a team of game designers to do. So I'm happy with that, and that means that I will be eternally optimistic, even if a specific moment isn't for me, because the people making the game understand the thing that players are looking for, or at least players like me are looking for. And they seem to be interested in catering to a bunch of different audiences. And I'm grateful that they have that perspective too.
Definitely, definitely. And in Standard, which deck have you been enjoying the most recently?
Before the nerfs, definitely demon hunting. I was hunting some demons, really like hunting any minions with multi-strike, having so much fun with that card. But I do recognize also there's a lot of damage from hand there, and I don't know if it's overtuned, but I know that it's very, very good. And I know that if it still feels the same way in a month, I might be less positive about it. But I was having a lot of fun with that pre-nerf. I've also really enjoyed Wildfire Nagamage, even though that deck is a lot less powerful or reliable, but hey, when you have Spitelash Siren Coin Slither Spear on turn 4, that deck's great. So I've been trying to do that. Um, I wish Rogue was a little bit more roguey, but right now it plays more on curve than I'd like. And I'm curious to try Ramp Druid now post nerf because it feels like people have cooled off on that deck. I love making giant boards on big swing turns and making a bunch of 8/8s. But now that the deck seems more targetable, I'm going to try it out because I don't think that there's quite as much community vitriol towards my buddy Guff.
Oh, Guff.
I love him.
I was very happy they didn't nerf him.
No. Guff didn't do anything wrong.
I agree. 100%. But now that pre-nerf, like you're mentioning, like pre-nerf, post-nerf, what are the cards that you think like got hit the hardest?
Druid seems significantly worse. And Kazaka-san was a really, really big part of that. I don't think Kazaka-san's a dead card. It's actually quite useful and valuable in some other decks that are using it better. But Druid can run out of stuff now, and it really does feel like a significant change. I mean, I don't think Switcheroo got hit that hard, but Priest didn't do anything except scam, and now it doesn't scam anymore. I don't know. The Druid package seems like it was a really impactful and meaningful nerf combined with Miracle Growth. I played against a Miracle Growth the other day, and they had to use the Innervate to get the Earthen Scales on curve, and I still killed them. So that deck feels meaningfully worse.
Okay,
Someone just tweeted at me that told me that Druid is still insane and that nerfs doesn't work. So we'll see. Maybe some other people are still upset about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, yes. I mean, nerfs are there to balance the game. They're not there to upset people, but unfortunately, they always do. Yeah.
Expectations are a difficult thing to manage because some people expect larger changes and some people expect smaller ones. Like expectations are the thief of joy. Whenever you are predicting something and it's not exactly what you want, that's the opportunity for negative emotions. So I try and avoid setting expectations for what will happen. It's really hard to tell. I mean, I've made so many incorrect card predictions over the years. I'm not going to say that I can understand what's going to happen from any meta fallout.
Definitely. And so you're talking about expectations. What is your expectation from the next expansion? We know nothing about it, but I kind of like what should we expect next? Like with the entrance of Naga, like what do you think they're gonna introduce after that?
So There are kind of pieces for a bunch of different strategies that have been littered throughout the year and throughout last year. Like, I don't know where Warlock's gonna go. I don't think they're gonna do more curses. I don't think maybe they do more Murlocs. I'm uh not sure about the Fell stuff that they tried in Alterac. Maybe there's a Fell Warlock or something. Typically in the 5-set environment, we think back in the last few, we had Stormwind, Skolo, Saviors. That's where decks start getting a lot more efficient. That's where card draw starts to be more active. There tends to be some combo presence in the meta more so than we have in these 4-set environments. So I don't know what mechanics they're going to look for. Probably not quests. You're not going to see quests again for a little while after all the hubbub around. And they try not to do those more than every couple of years, but we are probably due for some Highlander presence. So I could easily see that coming back in the middle set. It's a theme they return to often. Reno's in the core set. Could easily happen here. Generally, I just expect the middle sets is where they start to really push efficiency, or at least historically it's where they have. I don't know if they're going to keep doing that, but I've really liked all 3 of the past mid-set metas, and so I hope it's more of the same.
Yeah. And I mean, all related to like what they're gonna do next. It's like I kind of have a feeling that they're gonna maybe want to like have more Naga. Do you think they're gonna have more Naga in the future?
I'd expect so. I mean, you don't add a tribe and just completely abandon it. Well, though, did we get more Quillbore?
No, I don't think so. No.
Mm. So the most recent example that's not Naga of adding a tribe to the game was immediately not followed up on. I don't know. It seems like a Naga feels more like a spell school than a tribe. It's so spell heavy and it cares about seeing specific tags. They'll probably do 1 or 2 here. But I don't know. They didn't print any really, really crazy payoff cards for having a bunch of Naga. But also, if you print too many, then you can't really make too many payoff cards. If it's too reliable, it needs to be a little bit unreliable for the gameplay to be dynamic and replayable. So we'll probably see a couple here, but I doubt that they push it super duper hard.
And so, what do you think about RNG? Because I feel that for a lot of people like that come on the show and talked about it, it's really, I feel it's part of Hearthstone. It's part of like making the game fun. Although people are criticizing it a lot, I feel it's like also it's the what people want to see, especially for a content creator. It's even more important to have that kind of that wow factor and like turn that is like impossible and then it happens.
This is a scale, right? Because it's very easy to go too far with anything, and it's also very easy to not go far enough with anything. In my opinion, the worst expansion in Hearthstone history was the one that had the least RNG of the Witchwood, because Gen and Baku just meant the same button got pressed every other turn for the entire game. Knew was going to happen, and it was just a really, really boring year where we kind of knew what was going to happen each game from the very beginning. So there's a spectrum there, because there's also a point where your opponent, DQ ways into Nazari and does the full heal, or when you're playing against Cyclone Mage and they end up Conjurer's Calling into double Coilfang Warlord and then they generate a counterspell. That's not fun either. My general perspective is goofy randomness is fine as long as it's not the best thing to do competitively. You want to make sure that there's an option for it. You want to make sure there's some of it in each game, and it can be any kind of randomness. You're already dealing with some level of randomness because you randomly draw a card from your deck every turn. But Generation's okay. If it's really, really efficient and really, really powerful, it starts to be game-defining, and that's where it becomes difficult to feel like you have control over any outcome. The most important feeling to preserve is player agency, where the player feels like that they can make choices that matter. And Discover is a really big benefit to that feeling, as long as it's not the only thing you do all game and it comes down to Discover Roulette. So you just it's gotta be tuned appropriately, it's gotta be printed in appropriate amounts. You don't want too much, you don't want too little, you don't want it to be too efficient, but you don't want it to be gone.
I kind of have a feeling you have some PTSD from priests.
I mean, like priest is fine. People overreact to priest in a major way, just because it's a class that caters to. I'm not going to call it griefing, but Ixar's talked about this. There are people that the main thing they want to do when playing a card game is stop you from doing what you want to do. The main thing that they want to do is keep you from getting to do your thing. And Priest has a lot of those mechanics, and the people that love them really love them, but when they're good, the people that play against them often have really strong negative emotional reactions. I think it's a good example, Baron's Priest was relatively recent, of when generation is too efficient. You can also go back and look at Major Solarian Prime at 7, Evocation at 1, where they would play 3 Evocations a game, and it was completely goofy. And you can look at Alterac Thief Rogue, where they would prep recon into Najak Hexen Shadow Step, and then all of a sudden, like, if you have minions, no, you don't. There are random elements in every class, but some are better at it by design. And when those decks are pushed to be the best thing in the meta, I think a lot of players are rightfully pretty frustrated.
I can understand. But for me, like Control Priest and Forge of the Baron, so like last year or this time, that was a good because it was a hard deck. So if you would look like at stats, it wouldn't be the like a really high win rate decks, but when you're able to play it right, it's so satisfying. And I mean, I remember people just queuing into me and just conceding. They're like, no, I don't want to do this.
The turn one concedes, like, people clearly had strong feelings about it, and some of it wasn't even the randomness. It was Samuro Apo, where you would just kill their stuff and gain 21 life or whatever. And it wasn't about the randomness at all. It was about giant burst heals. And that was one of the things they nerfed to really take the deck down. It was a hard deck to play. It was a difficult deck to play against, but totally beatable. But the experience was poor enough. The games were drawn out, and it just wasn't aligned with the experience that a lot of players wanted to have. I'm glad it was in the game, and the people that I know that loved it really loved it. But, the mirror matches took forever. You know that.
30 minutes.
They took such a long... Oh, my gosh.
But it's like fun when you're a streamer.
It's fun, but if you're pushing for a high legend finish, right? If you're pushing for rank 10 or rank 1 or whatever, the feeling that it's up to the discovers as opposed to it's up to me as a player, I imagine would be difficult. I've never pushed for that kind of rank, but I imagine it would be difficult.
Definitely. But I wasn't pushing for that, so...
Yeah.
Just for the fun.
It's... Like, that sort of stuff is fun, and it should be in the game, just it shouldn't ever be the best thing to do for an extended period of time.
Well, it wasn't the best deck anyways. It was just like, people were like, oh my god, we hate priests, take priests out. It's like when they nerfed lots of cards, like priest card, because they just wanted people to stop saying they hated priests.
Yeah, there was some merit to Baron's Priest at the really high level, especially like in GMs and at Master Tours. It overperformed because when it was very skill intensive, as you said, and so when you limit that to a pool of really high level players, it was very difficult to effectively counter. But outside of that rank bracket, then the deck was under 50% win rate, pretty similar to like Garrote Rogue, where if you went to Garrote Rogue anywhere outside of top 1k or even higher, it didn't feel that oppressive, but if you were in top 200, it just felt impossible to beat.
I can imagine. And for sure, it's like when you have two really good player and you only base it on RNG, well, the discovery, it's always a bit... It can be frustrating.
Yeah.
Especially,
people said it was.
Especially after 30 minutes.
Yeah.
When they discovered the perfect card.
It's always the last discover, right? It's if you knew what the last discover was on turn 1 and you could be like, all right, you win, I'll go. That would save a lot of time. But that's never how it goes.
Definitely. So recently there's new cards in, and there's lots of cool art. Is there one card that you really like the art of?
Bioluminescence is so pretty, especially like the animation with the little fish, where they
Yes,
come across all the minions. Yeah,
I agree.
it's really gorgeous. Yeah,
Such a
the color
nice
palette in
card.
this set that they used for everything is just so amazing. I think this is the best art in a set that they've ever done, and that is a very big compliment because they've had some really great sets in the past, but this one just blew me away.
And what do you think about Gigafin?
Uh, I mean, it does what it's supposed to do, which is be gross. So like, it's a big gross murloc that has a head on his butt.
My God, he's so
Have you
pretty.
have you looked at the full art?
He's amazing.
His butt is a face.
It's
That's
my
not where faces go.
it's my boyfriend of the season.
Good luck. Probably a very expensive date at restaurants. He eats twice as much.
You're the second person who says that.
Very hungry. Loves minions.
Gigafin. No. He's so nice.
It's all the colossals are really enjoy the art and the animations and all that. But of all the ones that you picked, the nice one, Gigafin,
Yeah,
the creepy zombie murloc that eats things.
definitely.
Respect.
Okay, so we do have some food question for you. It's that part of the interview, and I think you're
I'm ready.
prepared for that.
Oh yes,
So, wine or beer?
beer.
Do you like wine at
Yeah.
all or not?
I mean, I will drink some wine. I got no problem with wine. But if I'm out at a restaurant, I'm either ordering cocktails or a beer.
Interesting. What's your favorite cocktail?
A Negroni, which
Ooh.
is 1/3 vermouth, 1/3 Campari, and 1/3 gin. For those keeping track at home, that is alcohol. It tastes better than it sounds, but if you are not used to strong boozy drinks, probably get something else. But it is a delicious beverage.
I do really like Negroni. A typical New Yorker of you to say that. Typical.
Is that a New York drink?
Yeah, all my New York friends they always say Negroni.
I didn't know that.
Interesting. Okay. Do you like cheese?
Do I like cheese? I am a cheese enthusiast. It says it in my Twitter bio.
Okay, so
Very pro cheese.
that's fantastic. Top three cheese.
Oh boy. All right. So for a sandwich, I usually Munster. For like general sandwich purposes, I usually go for a Munster. If I'm doing like a charcuterie or a snack plate, I'm probably going for probably a Roquefort, I think.
Oh yeah, you're a blue cheese fan?
Oh, yes, pro blue cheese. I mean, I love all cheeses, but a big fan of blue cheese. Blue cheese is my favorite dressing. Honey mustard is very close behind. And I don't know. In our fridge right now, I think that I think we finished the Gouda. And also, I'll just keep American in there because if you are making a burger at home or a grilled cheese, American's the way to go.
And okay, so you went to Italy for your honeymoon. So I need some Italian cheese in this.
I don't know the names of any of them, but they were all fantastic.
Okay, like burrata, parmesan.
Oh, yes. Okay. Those. Yeah. Burrata is great. Like, burrata is, can I get just cheese, but make it an appetizer that's socially acceptable?
Yeah, that's
Love
me.
that. It's just like, take a ball of cheese, throw some tomatoes on it. I actually had a really good burrata a couple days ago. It was really nice. Some seasoned tomatoes. And then, yeah, I mean, Parmesan goes on stuff. We actually, at that same dinner, we had a broccolini with Parmesan. Oh, so good. I'm hungry now.
Love it. Love it. um, what's the best cheese you had in Italy?
the cheese that was on the pizza we had there, because that pizza was fantastic. But I do remember actually we ordered this cheesy risotto at this one place that was also exceptional. It was so dense, we just both ate it and went back home and passed out. It was wonderful.
It was like Parmesan mainly, I'm guessing, on risotto.
I think so. Yeah, we drank a lot of limoncello. I don't remember, but it was good.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Are you more of a vegetable or fruit guy?
Fruit is for snacks and vegetables for meals. Like I'm a big fan of both. I don't got any problem with either.
But if you had to pick.
I don't want to pick.
Okay.
Which one is tomato?
Okay. No. Let's not get into that discussion, please.
No, but you had hold on. Which one is tomato?
In my opinion, a tomato is a vegetable, but everyone in chat is gonna tell you it's a fruit. So, so yes. What top 3 vegetable, top 3 fruits?
Where do I put tomato? Do I listen to chat? Okay.
Tomato can be in between. You can put them in between. It's fine. It's fine.
Tomato is on the list for both lists. Tomato is on both lists. Favorite fruits. Big fan of bananas. Big fan of apples, but good apples, not red delicious apples, but good apples. And what's my third fruit? Which one is avocado? Is that a fruit?
It's a vegetable, but everyone in chat is gonna tell you it's a fruit. So yes.
Okay.
It's a vegetable.
Okay. So bananas, apples, blueberries. Banana, apple, blueberry. Yeah. And then for the vegetable side, big fan of corn. Big fan of carrots.
Carrots?
Where else am I going? Carrots, yeah. Carrots are good. And Brussels sprouts. Big fan of Brussels sprouts. Because you fry them in bacon grease.
Yes. With pancetta.
Oh, yeah.
And drizzle of balsamic.
I am even hungrier than I was before.
Okay. Are you more of a savory or sweet guy?
I like desserts a lot, so I think I'm supposed to say sweet here.
Okay, so you like dessert.
That kind of like... I do. I am Cookie Monster. I am a Cookie Monster. I go crazy for cookies. But when it comes to, like, I'm looking for that savory and umami adjacent flavor whenever I'm eating dinner, but I pursue sweets when I'm hungry and not sure what I want.
Ooh, interesting. So cookies is your favorite flavor of cookies?
I'm a sucker for a warm oatmeal raisin or a soft chocolate chip, which I know is pretty boring, but like they're good for a reason. You can find them everywhere for a reason.
And
There's
raisin.
Also oatmeal raisin. Oatmeal raisin's great. There's a bakery here in the city called Levain Bakery where they make these giant warm cookies. They're super incredible. Oatmeal raisin's delicious.
Amazing. I'm always wondering who eat that. Now I know. Now I know who eat that.
I'm the only person. Anytime you see an oatmeal raisin cookie, they're just waiting for me to swing by.
I'm sorry, I don't like raisin. That's why I don't like.
Sounds reasonable.
So are you a cook?
No. Okay. I have been informed by my wife that I could be, but I don't.
So your wife is the cook in the couple?
She is the one that cooks more. We're both fairly busy, so we find ways to get food in the house however we can, prepared meals, ordering out, whatever. But she is a talented cook, and then I know how to make eggs. I can make good eggs, but not much else, and I usually don't take the time.
Okay. And so if you would cook something for your wife to impress her, you would cook her eggs?
Either eggs or steak and potatoes. She loves steak and potatoes, and thinking back at it, I should have put potato on my list of favorite vegetables, but I didn't, so we're just gonna move on. But yeah, steak and potatoes. I do the sous vide thing, where with the vacuum seal the steak, and then you do the temperature bath. Yeah, big fan of that.
Yes, I do cook with sous vide also, but I usually just use it for meat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not with the potatoes.
No, the potatoes would just be
Okay,
French
okay.
fries, wedges, mash, whatever. We got the KitchenAid stand mixer as the wedding gift. I know it's a stereotype, and we use that thing all the time. It's great for mashed potatoes.
Oh, you put it in? I do have one, but I've never put it in.
Yeah, you can use mash. You can make mashed potatoes in there.
Oh, interesting. I'm learning stuff tonight. Learning stuff. So when you order out, what's your go-to?
Oh boy. There are a lot of things that we routinely order. Let's say the most common is, I mean, it's New York City. It's probably pizza. But we're also we have a couple decent Chinese places near here, but it's mostly pizza. Um, there's a great couple of Hispanic spots near here. We had Colombian yesterday, quite good. As my wife is Irish Dominican, so sometimes I have been introduced into the world of Hispanic food, and it is one of my favorite things. And so we ordered empanadas, and we got some rice and beans, and we got some chicken cutlets. It was really great. I was hungover, so I got some sancocho.
Ooh. So she's half Dominican, right?
Yes, correct.
And half Irish.
Correct. It's an interesting combination.
That must be a wonderful combination.
I think she's wonderful.
Yeah. Uh,
So, yeah, we like the Hispanic spices and we like potatoes.
good. Was she born in the U.S.?
Yeah, she was born in the city here in New York. She
Oh,
is a native.
okay, so she doesn't really have the culture like of one or the other from.
It's more New York culture than anything else,
Okay.
but her mother is from DR, and so she definitely picked up some of that at home growing up.
Okay, good. Nice. It's always nice to have a little bit of spiciness from your origin.
Exactly. Plenty of spice.
Good. So you like spicy food?
I do. Something that's definitely grown on me as I've gotten older. My dad was always really into it, and I didn't understand how he put so much hot sauce on it. And then I got a little older, and I kind of got it. So, yeah, I mean, we don't go crazy. Like I don't go into a restaurant and get the hottest thing they have. I like mild spice. I still want to be able to taste the food. But yeah, I will put salsa verde on a lot of things, including eggs.
Oh, but that's good. Salsa verde on eggs. I
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
that's the thing that whenever I visit the Southwest or California, I just go to some place with homemade salsa verde because it's surprisingly hard to find around here. It just makes everything so much better.
Except ice cream and cereal.
Yes, no hot sauce on those. I agree.
That's good. That's good. Good. Um, food. Oh, coffee. You already said you drink coffee, but you do drink tea too?
I'm not anti tea, but I drink coffee usually. Just a cup of black coffee every morning.
And every afternoon.
Not every, but often. It's nice to have a second mug sometimes if I have a busy day ahead of me. But if I forget to have it early enough and I'm not staying up super late, then I'll skip it. The one in the morning is the important one.
I agree. I agree 100%. Um, and related to you said you like spice. Do you have a favorite spice you like that you use very
Uh,
often?
so I know this is gonna sound silly. I think most people chronically underseason their foods. Just
Yes.
put more black pepper on things. Black pepper is delicious. Every morning, I get not every morning, many mornings. Very New York experience. I go to the local deli and get a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup. You know, it's a,
A
it's a,
what?
it's a bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup.
You
So
say
that's what
it
we call
so fast. I'm like,
exactly.
what?
That's New York. So it's bacon, egg, and cheese with salt, pepper, and ketchup. But you're gonna it's just a very New York experience where it's not a people don't call it a breakfast sandwich here, or I don't know what they call breakfast sandwiches in Montreal either. But here you just kind of just ramble off the ingredients that fast. That's just what people call it. And so whenever they put extra pepper, it's always my favorite because it gives you a little bit more flavor, makes it more interesting.
Definitely. I'm definitely in a team to put more pepper all the time.
Yeah, but we also have adobo in the house, and I'm a big fan of adobo.
Good. Good, good. Good, good. Yes, big muffin in Canada. Yes. Um, so I do have a couple of questions from chat. Yes,
Ooh,
if you are ready for that. Um,
I'm ready. Let's go.
the first one is quite funny, I must say. Who wrote that? Who wrote that? How was it to meet Swebe recently?
Fantastic. If you've watched Sway's stream, you know that she seems really funny and really nice.
Yes.
And in person, she is really funny and really nice. And we ate a bunch, and I shouldn't have done shots, but we did a couple shots. And I was very hungover because I am old. And I messaged Sway the next day. I was like, "Oh, I'm super hungover. How you feeling?" And she's like, "I'm fine. What are you talking about?" So I got dunked on. But yeah, really, really great time. We had fantastic food everywhere we went. Just known her for a couple of years now, and it was nice to finally hang out.
Yes, definitely. I mean, she seems like the sweetest person. So I'm very, very happy that your encounter was amazing.
Yeah, it was just as fun as you might think.
So it was in New York City while she was visiting, I can imagine.
Correct. Yeah, it was in Manhattan. Not too far from my work, because I work in a district with a lot of really great nightlife, and so it's not too hard to find bars and restaurants and whatever. There's so many places, it's impossible to see them all.
Did you pick the restaurant?
I did. Well, I had a portfolio, a few different options, but then we landed on the one that I've been to most recently.
Good. Well, I'm sad I didn't know you were in New York because I was there in February and I've met some people from Twitch.
Oh, well, next time you're here, I have recommendations. Wine bars. There are a few good ones.
Oh, no, I mean, we were like the list. Literally, all the recommendations we got were amazing. We ate way too much because we had like 4 meals per day because we wanted to do everything.
Yep, that is the experience.
But I think my favorite place was Cosme.
Oh, Cosme is awesome. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The way that they do the Hispanic fusion stuff and some of their sauces, they just get the savory, spicy, umami middle ground so perfectly.
So yes, but I know next time I'm in New York, I'll let you know.
Looking forward to it.
Good. What are the things you've learned from being on Twitter, social media, Discord a lot that helps you in your day to day life?
That is a fantastic question. So, the thing that I've learned the most from social media that I've also needed in my personal life, and that I think getting older has helped a little bit, is understanding just how many different perspectives there are on things and how to try and tell someone your feelings aren't wrong, and also when there's more information that might be helpful to them. I mean, this kind of dovetails with the gatekeeping discussion that's been going on recently with Pirate Warrior and all that I know that you've seen on various social forums. I want to make sure that if someone says, I don't like losing to Pirate Warrior, I say, here are a few, I can give them advice, I can give them guidance on here are a few ways to make that matchup better. There are some options that are available to you, but also your feeling isn't wrong, even though that there are different choices you could make. Because if making those choices isn't fun for that person, then it is very valid for them to say the thing that I want to do isn't what I get to do. And that's a crappy experience. There have been some times in the past, both on social media and in real life, where someone would explain how they feel and I would tell them why they weren't doing the right thing. And that isn't the right way to go about life. It ends up, you end up turning off a lot of people from telling you how they feel and what they want to say. It becomes much more difficult to find common ground. Um, it's just not very nice to invalidate someone's feelings. So it can be important to find a common ground and understanding where they're coming from first, and then pivoting towards if you're looking for guidance, because not everyone is. If you're looking for guidance, if you're looking for advice, this is the way I'd start to go about it. And your feelings are reasonable. And also, this thing will pass too. So it's made me a bit of a better person to understand from being in so many different circles. There are so many different perspectives, and people can say things that aren't informed, and it's okay to guide them towards the right answer. But if they're sharing a feeling, recognize where that's coming from and why they're having it, or at least what could be causing it, so that I can understand their perspective a little better.
So it's really around emotional intelligence.
Huge, huge thing. Really important. I think the most important thing in Hearthstone, and like maybe the most important thing in life, but definitely the most important thing in Hearthstone. I tell everyone when they're trying to get legend the first time, your final boss is yourself. That you're just going to get in your own head, and if you don't win, you're going to tell yourself, I don't belong here, this is a fluke, I'm out of my depth, or you're going to blame the game, when really you're just fighting against all these emotions of wanting something and not having it. The way that human beings work, I've worked in customer service 15 years. There's the thing that you have and the thing that you want, and the space between those two is crazy town. That's where people have really strong emotional reactions that they often have difficulty controlling and lead to irrational, erratic behavior. And the goal is to try and avoid living in that space as much as possible, because it'll drive you crazy.
I agree. Very good answer. Thank you.
Thank you.
How was it to interview Alkali on the Ingrid Chicken podcast? What do you think about the new? I'm not sure we want to say that, but I will ask the second question after. Okay, so, um, so
How was it to interview Alkali?
Yes. I say
remain
Alkali because of my French accent.
Yeah, again, the French accent makes everything more cultured. I am not convinced that Alkali is a human being. She is incredibly efficient at everything all the time, and that interview was 11 and a half hours into her workday. You would never know it. I have no idea how she does it. But she's really, really talented, really, really committed, and for every ounce of hard work that you see on the service, she does 10 times more behind the scenes for anyone that she's interacted with, and does not seek credit, does not advertise, does not make it public. Whatever you see on social media, and I know it's a lot, is only the tip of the iceberg. She is incredible, and just talking to her is always a privilege.
Good. I mean, I agree 100%. I love Alkali.
You can say Alkali. I'm not here to tell you your pronunciation's wrong. It's a different language. It's okay.
And so the second part of the question was related to the creator program. And I'm not sure I want to ask the question because I'm not sure we're allowed to talk about it.
I mean, you can ask and I will be diplomatic in my answer. How about that?
Okay. What do you think about the new Hearthstone creator program?
I think that I am excited to hear more details when it's formalized, and I know that if Alkali is involved, then it will be cool, and if they need to fix anything, then they will fix it.
Amazing. Love your answer.
There you go.
What rogue deck you miss the most?
I think my favorite rogue deck in recent memory was Baron's Rogue. The Baron's Miracle Rogue with the 2-mana Octobot with the Tenwu Alex, because you would just get to play that for...
The secret one.
Play for board.
The secret
No,
rogue.
not secrets. Not secrets. Just regular Baron's Miracle Rogue. With, not with the secrets, but with the Field Contact and with, like, Prize Plunders, and I think it had Penflinger in it. 2-mana Octobot. 3-mana Contact with Wicked Stabs, but without the secrets. Just the same deck that everyone played for 2-3 months. Never got tired of it. Really enjoyed it. Really got to know it well. I love that you could play for board. I love that you could Field Contact for 2 cards or for 8 cards. And it was I actually really liked the back and forth with that deck against Priest, because they wanted to Elucia you and take your Wicked Stab, so you just had to Wicked Stab them on turn 8-ish before they did that. And then you would win with the Alex, they would Elucia and they couldn't play the Alex. So After they printed Garrote, it changed a lot, and I didn't like it as much. But in Barons itself, it was really board based, but was kind of capable of doing anything, and was exactly like 50% win rate, and you could gain edges through skill. Really enjoyed that archetype, so that's the one that I would want to go back to.
I think that one of my favorite decks from the last year was Secret Rogue. So that version, but
The
with the
secrets were fun
secrets.
too. When Paladin was really good, you needed the secrets, especially when before the Crab Rider nerf, and when there were a lot of Blessing of
Yes.
Authorities
Yes.
going around, because they would play Blessing of Authority, then you would stunner them, and then they would leave.
Yeah. I remember because no one there wasn't a lot of people playing Secret Rogue, and that was a really good moment for me because I was like really mastering that deck. And when there's not a lot of people, it's like it's always good when you're a content creator. So I think that was one of my favorite part of like me playing Standard last year.
That was your secret.
That
Huh?
was my secret
Huh?
weapon. Exactly. Okay. Opinion on deck tech microwave coffee. Oh, yeah, okay, yes. I know what you mean now. Who wrote that question?
It's. I watched the video of him making coffee, and I felt physical pain. Like, come on, come on. He can do better. I will, for his birthday, I'm going to buy him a coffee maker.
But what's your opinion on microwave reheated coffee?
Just drink it cold. I will make a cup of coffee and forget about it. And if it's cold, I'll just chug it. Who cares?
What's your favorite book?
Favorite book? Microsurfs by Douglas Copeland. I read it at a young age, where it's about being a line level programmer at Microsoft in the 90s, and it ends up being a book that turns into relationships and spirituality. It was really interesting and really resonated with me. So, really great book.
Spirituality. Do you consider yourself someone spiritual?
No, very much not. Like, I can resonate with the idea, and I understand that it's important with other people, but I don't even think that agnostic would be the right word. I just kind of indifferent towards the whole idea of meta spirituality. Just something that doesn't occur to me.
Okay. Okay. That's okay. But so what in the spirituality of the book resonated with you then?
There's kind of this. There are some moments where it just becomes this both very human experience of a typical person that doesn't consider themselves to be spiritual or in any way engaged with religion, and then an extraordinary circumstance happens, and they find themselves uh, compelled to pray to something, someone, anyone. And it was pretty powerful the way it was written, and just seeing the way the characters handle it in a very human fashion, and just seeking some kind of help from a higher power was it spoke to me. It resonated with me still many years later.
That's good. That's good. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Hmm. It's a really good question. My entire life has been in the Northeast US, and I've explored other places. I don't know if I have the perspective to say that, like, to pick a place where I would be happy in this place. The places that I visited that I had the most trouble leaving, probably Seattle is way up there. Really love Seattle. And I mean, I've been to Italy a couple times, and it is. I don't know how I would have a living in Italy or how I would survive, but every time I've been there, I have not wanted to come home.
Nice. Nice. So maybe it's Italy.
Maybe. I like Seattle too, though. Like it's as far as a domestic city. I don't know what it is about that place, but it just like has the right balance of chill and urbane, like just right in the middle for me. And it isn't crazy cold, and it doesn't snow as much the way it does here.
Are you a snow fan?
Snow way.
Okay. You don't ski.
No. I mean, I have skied in the past, but now I just trudge through the snow on the way to the train because we take public transit here. It's just cold and wet and inconvenient, and I do not like the cold very much. I'm very small. I don't retain heat very well. My feet are always cold, and whenever I get to work and my socks are wet, it just like it ruins the rest of the day. And snow always seems to do that. Um, so my favorite season is the fall, around September, October, but
Me
then when it
too.
goes into yeah, it's because I get allergies in the spring,
Me too.
but in the yeah, there you go. So, like, the in-between weather, but without the allergies, when you get to first put that sweater on, oh, it's fantastic.
Okay, last question. Are you going to TwitchCon?
Not currently planning on it because I don't really stream. There are a bunch of cool people that I would hang out with there, but I don't stream very much. I'm not hugely into the culture, so probably no. If there was a BlizzCon this year, I would go. I haven't ruled out TwitchCon, but I'm not currently planning on going.
Okay, well, if you're coming to the Amsterdam one, let me know because I bought my tickets today.
Oh, right, it's in Amsterdam too. Yeah, I would probably go to the US one if I went to one, but I do like Amsterdam. I visited once and like the food is great.
I think one of the things I like the most about Amsterdam is made me feel like home because it's was a bit similar to Montreal. I really like the
I kind of see
atmosphere.
that. Yeah, kind of see that. A lot of bicycling, people are chill. Yeah.
Way more bicycling than we have here, but still.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit more hilly here.
Yeah, there's a lot more ups and downs in Montreal.
Compared to like the Netherlands, I was bicycling, it's like flat everywhere.
You just kind of get to coast wherever.
I loved it. I did the whole Netherlands tour with my bike and I loved it.
Oh, wow. I did not do that. But I saw other people doing it and it looked fun.
It was really fun. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was very enjoyable to learn about you up and personal.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. This has been one of my favorite series for a while. I watch you on your YouTube channel, which you should all go subscribe to, by the way. And it's just, it's nice to get these kind of personal interactions with these people that we know for the game, but they're people too. So thank you so much for having me on.
I'm very happy you accepted our invitation, and I hope you're gonna have a wonderful evening and that you're not gonna go to bed at 4 a.m.
One of those two will happen, but I am definitely going to be up till at least 4, probably later, but we'll see.
Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that.
That's not a bad thing for me. I know
Okay.
that it's not what you're looking for, but it's not a bad thing for me.
Oh my god, I would die.
We live on opposite schedules. Yeah, I probably wake up when you go to bed more than once a week.
Yes, probably. I usually wake up at 5 something, so yes. Because I
5
stream
a.m.
at 6.
Ugh. I pain. I feel pain. Respect. I could never do what you do.
Oh, thank you so much. Anyways, have a great evening. I'm gonna let you on with your podcast, and I'm really happy you accepted to come on the show tonight. Thank you.
Thank you so much.